Welcome to our review on electronic structure. So first thing we really need to understand is just the sheer amount of information that we can actually gain just by looking at a chemical formula. So in the middle there you can see we've got the chemical formula CuSO4, and if you have a look around the outside you can see all of the different things that we can actually work out just by looking at that one formula. So the first thing is that it contains 3 elements, and we can identify them from their capital letters because every new symbol for an element starts with a capital letter, remember. They're made up of these 3 elements, which happen to be copper, which is Cu, sulfur, which is S, and oxygen, which is the O. And if we count the number of atoms, which is a common question that they like to ask, then there are 4 oxygens, as we can tell from the little 4 at the bottom right there, 1 sulfur, 1 copper, so that gives us a total of 6 atoms altogether. Copper is a metal, our sulfur and oxygen are non-metals. Obviously they're all joined together through a chemical bond, hence the formula we've got there, which tells us it's a compound, and it's a compound called copper sulfate. So all of that information we can ascertain just by looking at that one formula. When we look at the periodic table then, we need to understand that it's arranged in certain ways. So if we look at our periodic table, then there are these vertical columns on there which are called groups, and on the periodic table you get in your exam paper, which is found on the back page, then they have actually got the numbers at the top there. So group 1 has a number 1 at the top, group 2 a number 2, and so forth. The other aspect we have is the horizontal rows. Now the horizontal rows on our periodic table are referred to as periods, and again they just count up in numbers. So at the very top of your periodic table you've got hydrogen and helium, which make up period 1, then our second period, which starts off with lithium and goes all the way across, and so on. So what you can actually do is, by using the coordinates of groups and periods, then you can work out what elements there are actually on the periodic table, and they do like to ask you that every so often to identify an element in period 4 or an element in group 6, for example. So you need to obviously remember groups are the vertical columns, periods the horizontal rows. Now once we look at the periodic table, one of the things that we work out is the number of electrons present in each of those different elements. And we need to understand that the arrangement of these electrons is quite a specific pattern. What we have around the nucleus of our atom then are the electrons all arranged in these shells, and the different shells can hold different numbers of electrons. So what we actually have then, once we've put all our electrons into these different shells, the arrangement of them is referred to as the electronic structure.